Good afternoon. Welcome everyone for our latest webinar, which is all about quality. My name's Tim, and as I say, we'll just wait a couple of minutes before we do formal intros. But thank you all for attending, and as I say, we'll just give it a couple of minutes before we make a proper start. Okay. Okay, so it's 35, so let's make a start. So welcome everyone. So my name's Tim, I'm the Skills Account Manager at Cogent Skills. For those of you that aren't aware, Cogent Skills supports Pfizer's apprenticeship by actually employing the apprentices. So if you are successful, legally you will be employed by Cogent Skills, but for the whole duration of your apprenticeship, you'll be solely based at Pfizer. So today's webinar is all about quality, and fortunately we've been able to secure two of our quality apprentices who are going to share some great presentations about their time at Pfizer. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Lauren first. Over to you, Lauren.
Thank you. I'm just about to present my screen. Hopefully it will load. Okay, well, hi everybody, my name's Lauren and I'm a first year quality practitioner apprentice at Pfizer in Sandwich. And here's a little intro slide. My role at Pfizer is within the farm site operations quality department, and I'm split between various teams, including the clinical complaints and investigations team and the qualified persons team. My day-to-day role is quite varied. Some days I'm completing QP notes, which help release clinical trials supplies. Other days I'm working on the PSF redesign project, which is moving us from our old system to our new system. And I'm also involved in various other projects such as continuous improvement tasks and some outreach to schools. And I chose to apply for this role because it encapsulates all of the A-levels that I chose to study. And I enjoy having quite a variable role. And this role being split between multiple teams was ideal for me and like my learning style. So I chose to study A-levels after secondary school at sixth form, and I received my results last year. I came straight into this apprenticeship from school, and I'm currently studying the Quality Practitioner Level 4 qualification with CSR training group. It's a 2-year course, and I have monthly lectures and assignments that I have to complete in order to meet the requirements for my standard. I also have to hit certain criteria, which are called knowledge, skills, and behaviours, and they all go into a portfolio, which helps me support my grade at the end of the programme. Each week, I have a study day, which is dedicated to my course and my course only, and this helps me do all of my assignments and complete my lectures. The course offers quite a wide range of topics, including like quality policies, management systems, and auditing, just to like name a few. But in order to gain the quality practitioner qualification, I have an endpoint assessment and a professional discussion at the end of my programme, which will give me my final grade. As well as the assignments, the standard requires off-the-job hours, which is activities that I complete outside of my day-to-day role. These can be like different projects, or outreach also counts for them. Here's like a little slide of all the things that I've been able to do as a result of taking an apprenticeship. I've gained so many skills on my apprenticeship so far, even though I've only been on it for 6 months. And I think that they'll definitely help me going forward. I've found that choosing an apprenticeship has opened a lot of doors and opportunities, such as networking and outreach to schools. And I'm grateful for this because I found it quite difficult to know what is actually out there and available after school, other than university. Um, Also, through doing an apprenticeship, I've been able to join networks and become ambassadors for both the STEM ambassador and the apprenticeship ambassador network. And this has led me to reach over 16,000 students in Kent through doing webinars and other outreach, and also led to an invitation to a conference in London. So overall, I'm incredibly glad that I chose this path, as it feels like the right thing for me, and I'm definitely enjoying myself a lot. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and that's all I've got.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lauren. So if anybody's got any burning questions, you can either switch microphone on, or you can post them in the chat. Or if you want to, you can wait until we have Ashley's presentation, and then you can grill them both. Okay. No one's put anything in the chat yet. So Ashley, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Tim. I'm just going to share my screen with you all, and then I shall begin. I'm hoping, can you see that? Fantastic. Okay, so I'm Ashley Turner, and I too am doing a level 4 quality practitioner role through Cogent, and the host is Pfizer. I've just finished my probation period of 6 months, and in those 6 months, it's been pretty wonderful so far. Just go to the next slide. So yeah, backing onto what Lauren has just discussed, I won't go into as much detail because I feel like I'll just be repeating a lot of what she has said. But I chose this apprenticeship because I am an older student. I do have a small family at home, and this works perfectly alongside raising them. I feel like there's a real balance of building myself a career and being at home with my children. It enables me to directly learn skills within the workplace, and reinforces my knowledge through the real world experiences, which, by the way, is endless. I mean, since I started, really hit the floor running. Obviously, there's the initial introduction and a lot of intense training which you do online before you can start any tasks, really. It's just like the legal side, but once that's done, they really do chuck you in the deep end, but in a good way. It's all positive, everybody's extremely supportive, and they go at your pace. So yeah, don't be afraid. And actually, I found that it was the way that I work best. But that it doesn't work for everybody, but for me it did. There is long so along with that, you are given so you can have the choice of having a mentor at work. You obviously have your line manager, in which you have weekly one-to-ones, and then the department manager, you also have a weekly one-to-one just to check your progress, if there's any concerns or any worries that you might have. And like Lauren said, weekly we do have a day crossed out which is purely focused on our qualification. So you are only working 4 days. And with that, we have the beauty of being able to work from home. So again, it just backs onto the whole work-life balance for myself personally with the children. My background, so I didn't have a traditional background. I left school and went straight into the workplace. and predominantly has been in educational roles and retail work. So it doesn't really matter what your background is. Don't be afraid to apply for an apprenticeship scheme, because ideally it's about you as an individual. Obviously, it's fantastic to have your qualifications behind you, but you know, there is such thing as personal experience, and that goes a long way. And I think they see that a lot in you as a person. So yeah, all my previous work experiences have kind of brought me to this point in my life where this opportunity, you know, arose, and I took it, and I'm loving every single minute. So if you have the opportunity to go down this path, I strongly agree that you try your best and go for it. And that's me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks, Tim.
So, does anyone have any questions? Oh, here we go. Oh, go on, Lauren.
I mean, I don't have a question, but I do have something else to add. I was going to say that if you think that it's going to just be like shadowing people and like kind of watching other people do things, it's definitely not like that. Um, Through this apprenticeship, we've been trained in order to complete our roles. So we're actually responsible for the things that we've been trained on. So it's not just like you're watching someone do something, you're actually given the responsibility. And I think that that's really good because it lets you learn all of the skills that are actually applicable to the job rather than just seeing other people do it. But yeah.
Super. Right, I've got a question for both of you, and it's quite a timely question because if you think we're still advertising these positions, and obviously this time last year you found the advert, you applied, and I just wondered how easy was the application process? What kind of, if you were giving tips to any of these attendees that are thinking about applying, what would you say would made you stand out? What would you think made your application good enough to get through to the assessment day? Lauren, do you want to go first, and then Ashley?
Yeah, okay. So for my like written application, I kind of kept it quite personal, and I made sure to evidence my skills because I found that that was something that um they really picked up on, and they actually said about that on the assessment day when I did my in-person interview, that they liked it how I could see, say, like an experience that I had had and see what skills linked to it and what I had gained from each of my experiences. They were very like, I don't really know the word, but they were very, like they liked that I had done that. And also, I found that I had never done a video interview before, and that was one of the stages in the application process. I would just say for that, keep your answers precise, kind of plan out what you're going to say instead of waffling, because you only get a short amount of time to say what you want to say. And having it quite short and precise means that you can get more in and more worthwhile things in as well. And then for the assessment center, I would say just be yourself. Like don't try and pretend to be who you are. The interviewers liked that people were being themselves and they weren't a robotic, rehearsed kind of thing. They liked to see that you could open up and be more personable because at the end of the day, you're going to be in a team with them. So, like, they also look for that aspect. But yeah, they're my top tips.
Thank you, Lauren. Ashley, anything to add?
From my own personal experience, especially when you're writing your application, is to perhaps have a word with the people closest to you at home and ask them, what is it that stands out about me on a personal level? What is it about me that stands out to you? because sometimes it can be really difficult to be quite reflective or to big yourself up, but that's what you need to do to be able to sell yourself on your application. You need to have a good look at yourself and what skills you're good at, but also your personal skills. So have a good think, talk to those closest to you, and then get them on paper, and then start to write out your application based upon how you see yourself, because ultimately when you go to interview, they're going to want to see on paper what's in front of them. But the whole process, really, don't get me wrong, it is a tough process. But like Lauren said, if you're true to yourself, you're honest, you're open, I think you can do very well. Ultimately, it's how you gel as a team. So when you get to the group task, they're looking out for those behaviours and those skills to see whether or not you'd be fit enough to work within the team. Because ultimately, that is what you are. You are a team player. You could pretty much train anyone to do anything, but it's how you adapt and how you work together. So use your skills, use your attributes, and shine in those moments. But yeah, I mean, the most difficult part is to look at yourself and say, what am I good at? What am I best at? What can I bring to the table that they're looking for? So yeah, have a good look at yourself, and ask those around you, yeah, for some support and guidance and their personal opinion.
Fantastic. Thank you for those insights. Lauren, anything you want to add? Ashley, are you able to stop sharing now as well?
Oh, I do apologise, yeah.
I was just gonna add to that and say about the assessment centre day. I was so nervous on my assessment centre day, but I shouldn't have been as nervous as I was. Obviously, that was my first assessment centre day that I had ever done, so it's understandable to be nervous for things like that. But I think it's definitely good if you can just try to lower the nerves, because I did not need to be as nervous as I was. Everyone was so accommodating and friendly, and they knew that it was a nerve-wracking experience, so they did make it a lot more like relaxing. And obviously it wasn't entirely like a spa day, but it was definitely less worrying and stressful than I thought it was going to be. Same with like the run up to it. Cogent sent out certain like templates and like methods for the interview, which I found really helpful because I hadn't done a proper interview before. So reading through those and like prepping definitely helps. So I definitely recommend looking at the things that you're being sent through the emails because they are very useful.
It's so good to hear, and thank you for that, Lauren. And I don't know if you remember, but do you remember I bumped into you in the car park on your interview day, and if you remember, I said to you, try and enjoy the day, and I know you looked at me kind of strangely as to say, how can I enjoy myself, Tim? This is an interview. This is my first interview. I'm petrified. But if you remember, Jodie and I, we try to, the pace of the day is very much your own. We're not out to trick you at all. Any of the activities that we get you to do, it's designed to relax you, because ultimately we want to see the best side of you. And we know that we can't see the best of you if you're like totally nervous. So if you remember, we tried to give you a tour. I think we even fed you. Did we give you lunch as well? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
But as I say, it's all designed to make you relax. Yeah. So we get to see you shine, because ultimately we want to select the best candidates. Yeah. Super. I've got one more question, unless someone else has got something, any other questions. But just in terms of, can you think back to your first day at Pfizer when both of you first started? Again, it seems it must have been quite nerve-wracking. A big company, everyone seemed, you must think that everybody knew what they were doing, and you're just an apprentice. And I just wonder, how did Pfizer and Cogent support you in those first couple of weeks upon first joining?
Should I go
Yeah,
first?
do you want to go first, Lauren? I
Yeah,
don't
I
mind.
can. So we had a 2-week induction window, which was really helpful because it brought together all of the new cohort of apprentices as well as some of the undergrads as well. So being all in that big group all together, being guided through the whole process over that 2 weeks was really useful because it made you feel less isolated and alone because you had other people in the same boat with you. And also we got like told all of the not rules, but like how everything works. And it gave us more time to ease into the job rather than being like chucked straight in to try and learn all of the just everything about the job. So having that induction period was really useful because it helped everybody be a bit more relaxed and a bit more just in tune with each other. It helped everyone get some connections so you're not totally alone, which was very helpful. I found that the induction was great.
Super. Ashley?
Just backing on to what Lauren said, so that 2 week induction period was an opportunity to kind of create friendships, despite the fact that you're not in the same department as the other apprentices or the undergrads, but there is opportunity to meet up, and also your managers in the department that you're within, they create time to be with you, so you'll like share lunches. There is a hot desk, so you're not necessarily, you don't have to sit with your team. However, they're very inviting, but they don't put the pressure on you to sit together. So if you felt one day, do you know what, I'm going to go sit with my friend from in regulatory, you've got the freedom to do that, and then to go back to your department at any point. So I found that really reassuring. But also I have my counterpart, Lauren. So, over that time, we've created such a strong bond, and in a personal sense as well. So if for whatever reason I needed a little bit of extra support, I'll reach out to her on a personal level. But ultimately, the team are so friendly that I could also do that to them. Like I said, you have your weekly one-to-ones. They create. There was a regular lunch meet, so it was breaking down that sort of. Although there is a professionalism, but it was a more relaxed atmosphere. So quite quickly, we got our feet under the table and we felt quite reassured that it was just a wonderful environment to be in.
Super, brilliant. And tell me, working at Pfizer, again, from the outside in, everyone must be really strict, and everybody must do it. And surely you can't ask questions or support because you're going to college, you're learning. Surely, isn't that how it works?
No, not at all. I mean, no question is a silly question, and actually, it's your opportunity to ask all the questions, no matter how silly you think they are. And actually, everybody, not even within your department, just within Pfizer and Cogent, they will take their time to sit with you, to create a Teams meeting with you. So it doesn't have to be face to face; it could be virtually done. Send an email, a little message. Everybody is so lovely, so welcoming. Nothing is ever too much. So do ask those questions because actually that is how you learn. And by putting yourself out there, you're networking. So without even realising it, you're creating connections amongst Pfizer and within the building itself. So yeah, do that. That's one of my pieces of advice is to create connections and ask all the questions, no matter how small.
So good to hear. So good to hear. Well done. Thank you for that. Lauren, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I was going to say that everybody's very encouraging and everyone is willing to help and answer questions. And I'd also say that even though Pfizer is such a big company and there is quite a few people working at Sandwich, it does feel like a community and like because everybody is involved with each department is involved with each other. So you have so many opportunities to meet new people and they actively encourage you to ask questions because they want you to learn too. You're very encouraged to push and learn and progress throughout. And even though we've only been here 6 months, I feel like I've really been pushed to develop, which has been great.
Fabulous. Brilliant. Thank you, Lauren. And look, I think we've got our first question, would you believe? in the chat box, which is what's the next steps after this after this webinar. So next steps will be obviously the advert will be closing soon. Apologies, I haven't got the advert in front of me as to when the closing date is, but certainly Cogent's recruitment team, they'll be screening the applications and inviting the candidates that best meet the requirements of the job role. They'll be inviting those candidates then to undertake a one-way video interview. The one-way video interview consists of 5 questions, and once you complete that, that then gets sent to the hiring manager along with a copy of your application. And then it's down to the hiring manager to decide which candidates they take forward through to the assessment day. Okay. Super. Any other questions? Anything else anybody wants to ask our 2 quality practitioner apprentices? No? Okay. Oh, Janet's typing, so I'm going to say, Ashley, any other tips you feel that you could share with these attendees today? Anything else you think you could, if you were in their shoes, what would you be asking you now? You've got at least 6 months worth of knowledge.
But I think even before like going through the application process, do your research. Do your research on Pfizer. Do your research into the role that you're applying for. Get to know it on a more deeper level. I think that will really help you within your application process and with your interview to know what it is that you're talking about. Because they want to see the passion. They want to see that you're doing this because it's something that you want to do, and you have, you've done your research. It's quite a bit of a showstopper if you've got the knowledge. So that's one key piece of advice that I would suggest. And ultimately just be yourself, and you've just got to sell yourself. And then I think the best part is the interview / the group sort of workshop, because that's where you're able to shine, and that's where you're able to show your abilities and your personality. So yeah, on the day you are going to be nervous, but they will create a slight comfort and opportunities to sort of unwind a little bit, take a cup of tea, have a break, talk with the others, and actually quite quickly you'll notice that you'll start to relax, and they understand that you're going to be slightly stressed and anxious, but they're very welcoming and very, very calming and very understanding. So yeah, just enjoy every single step.
Super, thank you. So we've got a couple more questions. So Catherine's asked about what are we looking for in a CV? It's an entrance test. So as I say, just reiterating. So the application process is the online application form. So I strongly suggest you answer all the questions. Don't leave any gaps on that online application form. And as I say, assuming you answer it correctly and appropriately and in the right depth, you will, once the advert closes, you will then be invited to complete a one-way video interview, which, as I say, consists of 5 questions, and then a copy of your application and the one-way video interview gets passed to the hiring manager at Pfizer, and as I say, it's down to them to decide which candidates they take forward to the assessment day. Here we go. Here's a question for either one of you two. How long is the QA practitioner apprenticeship? And is it guaranteed you will get a job with Pfizer? So I'll answer the second part first. Yeah. So no, there are no guarantees about a permanent position at the end of the apprenticeship. However, what we do say is that there could be opportunities for progression onto a different apprenticeship or a higher apprenticeship. There could be opportunities to be retained by the business. As I say, it all depends on budgets and timescales and the actual timing of what the business looks like. But all we say is, look, you've got 2 years to complete that apprenticeship, so you're in the shop window for 2 years, so clearly it's in your best interests to try and get as much out of that opportunity as possible. Lauren, anything you'd like to add to that?
I'd say, well, obviously you said about how it's the 2 years. I was going to add on to a bit more about that. We have the course is actually 2 years, but the last 6 months are solely for our endpoint assessment and our professional discussion. So we will have meetings with our tutor who will help us refine our portfolio and choose certain assignments that we think hit the criteria the best. So then we can like submit the best of our work. And then for the professional discussion, it's kind of like an interview where we can be tested on any of the stuff that we had learned over the program. So we have actually started working on the professional discussion, but in that end 6 months, we will start refining it and learning a bit more about the techniques on how to perfect it.
Brilliant. Ashley, anything you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I think you both covered that
Super.
answer.
Brilliant. So moving back to the chat, so what's the maximum level of apprenticeships available? Well, as I say, I mean, apprenticeships can be offered at any level, ranging from level 2 all the way up to level 7. For the quality practitioner apprenticeship at Pfizer, it's been offered at level 4. Is it a poor idea to apply to more than one apprenticeship at Pfizer? I wouldn't say it's a poor idea. What we would say though is that really think about the type of job role that you're interested in. So, you know, if you've got a multitude of applications ranging from clinical trials to project management to quality to business admin, it's going to be difficult for you to kind of come across as someone that's passionate about each opportunity. So I would really reflect internally and actually think about what skills do I have, do I possess, but also what type of job role would I be interested in doing at Pfizer, rather than just do a scattergun approach and think that you're doing well by applying for them all. Yeah, that would be my piece of advice. How many candidates do you need for this QA apprenticeship? Not sure about in terms of what we need. As I say, in terms of the number of candidates that apply, we get a lot of candidates, and certainly this 2026 apprenticeship round, we've had even more candidates apply for our apprenticeship positions than 2025. We've seen probably a 30% increase across the board in all our apprenticeship vacancies. So it is becoming more and more competitive, which just means you've really got to spend a little bit more time thinking about your application, thinking about who you are and what skills you can bring to Pfizer, as well as thinking about, is this really the best role for me, and what is it I want to do as an apprenticeship? Ashley, anything you'd like to add?
Nothing that I can think of right now, but I think, like what you just said, Tim, is to really think about your answers, really do your research, but be true to yourself about yourself, and about the reason why you want this position. Because like Tim said, you're up against hundreds and possibly thousands of other applicants. So really take the time to go over your application, read through it, go back to it, and speak to those closest to you who know you best, or your teachers at school. Show them your application before you send it, and make sure that you feel that that is the best application that you can provide before submission, because yeah, it's your only opportunity really.
Perfect, excellent advice. Lauren, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I was going to add on to the thing about applying to multiple. I was going to say that personally, I applied to 2, but they were both quite similar. So obviously, I applied for this one, and then I also applied to the project management in clinical trials. So both this role and the other role were involved in clinical trials in some way. So I wouldn't totally like rule it out, but definitely think about what is actually interesting you rather than just, oh, here's an apprenticeship, I'll apply. Actually think about what you can give to the apprenticeship and what you can get from it at like for you as well. don't just apply just because. You actually have to think about it, otherwise you won't get the benefits from it, and neither will the company. So yeah.
Really good answer. Thank you for that. And obviously, please check also the entry requirements, and the entry requirements for all apprenticeship positions is based upon education qualifications. And again, those entry requirements are actually set by the training provider, not by Cogent or Pfizer, just to make you aware of that. Okay, is it possible to do clinical trials and QA at the same time? No, you can't do 2 apprenticeships at the same time. You can only be on 1 apprenticeship at any time. You'd be in a contravention of funding rules, so you can only ever be funded for 1 apprenticeship at a time. Okay. Right, if there's no more questions, oh, go on, Lauren.
Sorry, I was going to go on from that, saying about how in quality we are, because we're split between multiple teams, at the moment we are doing things to do, like a little bit to do with clinical trials, but obviously the clinical trials apprenticeship will specialise more in it. So it depends on what kind of thing you're definitely interested in. But I'd say that QA is very varied, but definitely think about what interests you the most and then decide what to apply for.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it goes back to reading the job description and looking at the job role and seeing what type of job you'd like to be doing, as well as obviously everything with regards the entry requirements and what other skills you feel you've got. Fabulous. Brilliant. Well, I just want to thank Ashley and Lauren for their wonderful insights as well as their great presentations. Thank you for joining us today. Yeah, we wish you the best of luck. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.